Yeah. What up, good people, and welcome to another episode of Keep It Thorough, where we give you the real behind business health, money, and self development, and introduce engaging concepts to help you elevate your performance in all areas of life. I'm your host, Cedric Lavelle, joined by my counterpart, E Double.
Your boy E Double. We back at y'all for good old episode 99.
For the 9
And I
9 in the
can't
2000. Nah.
she working with some yeah,
Yeah.
hey.
Hold up. Hold up.
But hey, episode 99, man. And the
Yes,
title of
sir.
this episode is Money Talks. Steps for sticking to what your budget tells you.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously a Money Matters episode. And I always tell y'all I love money. And while we on the topic of money,
Yeah.
we got a giveaway, going on right now to
Mm-hmm.
celebrate our 100th episode. And y'all can win y'all some nice cash to go shopping for Christmas. First place wins $100 cold hard cash. Second place wins a Keep It Thorough snapback. And third place wins a $25 Visa gift card. Be sure to check out our Instagram page to get all the details for entry and all that good stuff. But as always, man, be sure to visit keepitthorough.com/kits and check out the kit that corresponds to this episode. And, tell a friend to tell a friend, and podcast with us wherever you podcast. So, with all that being said, let's go and kick this thing off, Sid.
Yes, sir. So here's the real. Your budget tells you a lot about your money. A lot of things that you can understand and figure out as it relates to your money when you have a budget. It will tell you where you're overspending or where you're not spending enough. It will tell you where you prioritize your spending or where you're not prioritizing. It'll tell you what your possibilities are, what your financial potential is, and your budget. It's the financial portrait that gives you the clarity on all the things concerning your earnings, your savings, or even your spending. So it's of the utmost importance to listen to what your budget is telling you, right? Because when the money talks, everything that you need to know concerning your finances will be shared. Like I said, it's gonna tell you everything. If you're not sticking to your budget, if you're under budgeting, if you're going over your budget, if you have an opportunity to allocate funds in other areas, everything that you need to know from a detailed perspective will be seen through your budget. And the best thing that you can do with your budget and as you address your budget is to find the most effective ways to enhance and improve. Because when you do that, that's when you begin to see a difference in your financial future. So, again, when the money talks through your budget, listen to it. Find an understanding, because it's beneficial not only just in the short term, but obviously in the long term. If you have some goals, if you have some vacations, if there's some things that you want to do in the future, get your budget in order, and then you can see the possibility and the opportunities be endless for you.
Absolutely. And I think a good place to start, right? Because you mentioned budget, right? Said, and I think in the context of what you were saying, budget doesn't necessarily mean like a budget that someone's created, but just kind of looking at their spending habits of sorts, right? And kind of creating a budget,
Right.
right? So like after taking time to analyze those spending habits or your budget, when you listen to what your money's talking about, it's time to see where there's a disconnect between your financial plans and how you spend.
Yeah.
And unhealthy spending habits is the number one reason that leads to debt and worry. So those unhealthy, reckless, I'll even call them impulsive, spending habits. Number one reason that leads to debt and worry. So by aligning your spending habits to your financial goals, you'll be headed towards a path to success, right? So the spending habits take shape in the form of a budget, right? That's once you look at your spending habits and you want to improve them, that takes shape in the form of a budget. You know,
Right.
you put a budget together, and then, as said just mentioned, about allocating certain amounts to various different groups, right? So, whatever those are, we'll kind of get off into those in a second. But by being in cadence, right, or being in rhythm with your budget, you ensure that you're making financial decisions with intention, and then you're not just randomly spending.
Spend it.
Like,
Yeah.
your money is allocated to certain things. So you have allocation for savings. You have all of your monthly expenses allocated. You have a miscellaneous allocation for little random things that may come up, right? So now this requires you to balance your needs and your
And your
wants,
wants. Well, that'd be
and
challenging for a
tracking
lot of people.
expenses, right? And tracking your expenses and managing financial resources prudently, right? Like, you have to manage them. And when we say like financial resources, I think in today's age, a lot of people have multiple sources of income, right? And managing those different sources of income, and we all got a whole bunch of bills. You know what I mean? So, managing them things. I swear, I feel like every time you pay a bill, another one
Another
comes.
one come right up.
But as you align to your financial blueprint, your individual, because everybody's financial blueprint is different, you'll recognize that each dollar spent purposefully is a step towards financial prosperity. So you literally have to be mindful of every dollar and every cent.
Hmm.
And I literally take my budget that serious. Like, if I showed y'all my Excel spreadsheets, and how I literally manage every dollar, you know what I mean, and how I overestimate my spending and underestimate my income, and all of those various different things, and that's something that I literally do and look at, if not every day, at least every other day, to make sure that I know what my money's saying, right? Because your money gonna tell you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Your money gonna tell you when there's some problems. You know what I'm
Some
saying?
issues.
Or some issues. So very important to align your financial blueprint with your to align with your financial blueprint, and make your decisions, your financial decisions, based off that. Which again will lead you to financial prosperity.
And one of the things that you just said too, man, with financial prosperity, and I think that word in itself should resonate with a lot of people, right? Because you want to get to a point when it's related to your finances where you don't have a lot of worries. You know what I'm saying? You're able to take care of your responsibilities, you're able to take care of your needs, you're able to take care of your wants. And that's a good position to be in as it relates to your finances. And I think when it comes to being prosperous with your finances, it's understanding the value of the rewards that you get. You know what I'm saying? When you take the time to be diligent in the area of finances, when you're a good steward over your money and you're doing the necessary things to maintain your financial responsibilities, I think it's beneficial. And when you become more intentional in what you're doing and when you're doing what's right, the returns on that investment of that time and energy are endless. You start to
Right.
see the difference in your financial future. You start to see things change. You have less worry. You have less stress. And I feel it's tremendously important when you see those goals, when you see what the outcome will be. And more specifically, showing effort when it comes to certain areas, right? So, certain areas like financial accountability. And so, adhering to that budget and understanding that budget and knowing that that financial responsibility is going to be what essentially provides you the outline to everything that you need to know as it relates to your savings, everything you need to know as it relates to your earnings, everything that you need to know as it relates to your expenses. It gives you that financial accountability. You got to have that, but you also have to see the reward at the end by being financially accountable. And then with,
Yeah.
something like debt management. So tracking and controlling all of your spending habits. Like he was just saying, like he tracks and sees everything to a T. Conversations that we've had and discussions that we've had, I know it's true. You know what I'm saying? It's like I round every dollar, to this thing. I make sure that I get the whole number, and then I'll underestimate here, overestimate here. You know what I'm saying? But you have to be, it's a strategic investment that you make as it relates to your finances. And like we've been saying, when you're budgeting, the money's gonna talk to you. It's gonna show you what you need to know. All you gotta do is listen. All you have to do is be open minded and receive that information and make the necessary adjustments that's gonna put you in better financial alignment, essentially. Because ultimately, what everybody wants to get to is financial freedom. That's one of the
No,
goals.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
And
People want.
get to that point where it's not my bad, I didn't mean to
No, you
cut you
go.
off,
Go ahead,
man.
bro.
But to get to that point where the conversation changes, gotta clear my throat. But to
Let
get to
me
that
clear
point
my
where
throat. You ever heard that song before?
this, yeah, I know
Okay, all
exactly
right,
that.
all
I know
right.
that's my mama was in the '90s cutting up. So,
Okay, all right. Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. All right, man. You know what I'm saying? Cutting up.
what was I gonna say? You want to get to that point where the conversation changes from "Can we afford it?" to "I know I can afford it,
Yeah,
but does it make sense?"
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because just because you can
Doesn't mean that
don't
you need to
mean you
do it.
should.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
right.
And that's the conversation that you want to have. So, it's no longer a conversation of, man, can we afford this? Or where can I get the money to do this? And it's like, well, no, I know I got the money, but does it make sense?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And
It is
that's the situation we all want to get to, right?
absolutely because what it does is it allows you to allocate funds to your future life goals confidently. I know I got the money. I'm gonna get this. I know I got it, but I don't really need this. So we can wait on that. We got such and such coming up in the next 2 or 3 months. Let's focus on that. And then maybe, 6 months from now, when this earnings come in and this investment comes in and we've saved and budgeted for this, then maybe we can pursue that. So being able to get to that space in that place where you're able to do that, that's a beautiful thing, right? And it doesn't involve having to be a millionaire to be financially
Exactly.
free. You know what I'm saying? Now, if that's one of your goals, that's your goal. If you want to be a billionaire, that's your goal. If you want to be a thousandaire, that's your goal. But being smart with your money and understanding that the value that you put on money makes a significant difference in the efforts that you put forth.
Yeah.
So if you value your spending, if you value where your money is coming from, if you value your expenses and understanding that from a very, very specific perspective, that's going to give you an opportunity to make sound decisions that's going to help you now and later. You know what I'm saying? And
Hey,
so,
and really, I think those are overlooked in so many situations
yeah,
because like that sort of financial literacy comes into play, right? Like so many people think that more money will solve their problems.
no,
And if you have bad money management skills and you have terrible financial literacy, more money is not going to solve your problems.
that's
And
going
in
to make them
most cases,
worse.
it'll actually magnify your
Magnify.
problems
Hmm.
because you're going to go into even deeper debt,
Right,
right? Because since you have, X amount of money, and you can put down this amount, so then you get approved for that much of a bigger loan. You know what I mean? And then now instead of not having as much money and getting a $30,000 car and it getting going into collections or whatever, now it was $150,000 car that went and took. You know what I mean? So in a
right,
lot of cases, it'll magnify. Now, if you're great at managing your money and taking care of your money, it's naturally gonna grow. So yeah, if you got more, you can still gonna know how to manage it. But if
right.
you're terrible at $50,000, you're not gonna magically become great at managing
100K,
two hundred
200
thousand
K.
dollars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't work that way. You're gonna be just as reckless. You're gonna have more things, obviously, because it's more money, but your problems are still gonna be the same.
Yep, and that debt is going to be even more significant because you're
Exactly.
still borrowing, right? So
Yeah.
you got it. You have to be mindful, and really see the rewards, but value the fruits of your labor at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, 1,000%. All right, so cool. So you
No, you good,
you
bro.
had anything? Okay,
That's on
cool.
you.
So we always, as always, and we point it out every week, right? We like to use like real world examples. So let's take somebody who struggles with unplanned expenses. They're frequently in debt. Their debt's constantly growing, and after years of disappointment and struggles and worry, they decide to pay more attention to what their money is saying. So some of the things me and Sarah were just talking about, right? And to find that clarity, they start a basic budget. So they're outlining their monthly income, their fixed expenses. They're putting a portion of their money into their savings, and then they assign some of their leftover money to like entertainment and random expenses, and that completes their budget, right? So they got their income, they got their fixed expenses, which is like your rent or your mortgage, your car note, your cable bill, all those types of things. And then as we mentioned, putting money into your savings, and then allocate some money for entertainment. So that might be like Netflix, or that might be going out,
Going out.
whether you
Yeah.
go out or whatever you consider entertainment. And then random expenses, right? So whatever money is left over after you've allocated all that, okay, cool, I can spend this on whatever, you know. So now they do that, right? Those simple actions can change your financial landscape dramatically over time
Yeah.
just by allocating those funds. So like now you're going to look every month and you're going to see that savings account is growing.
Hmm.
It's growing, it's growing, it's growing. You're going to look at those random expenses, and unless you make it a point to spend them all every month, you're going to have extra money in your saving in your checking account. That's going to continue to grow, you know? And then you're going to get to a point where it's like, man, like I'm pretty comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm paying all my bills. I'm, putting money into my savings. I'm watching that grow. And if you anything like me, I love to watch my money grow.
Yeah.
Like I get addicted to it. I'm gonna throw some extra over there that I didn't even budget for just because it's there and
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
can. But and then that's gonna give you that confidence, that financial confidence that'll allow you to have the access funds you need to invest now, because saving is cool and all, but if you're really trying to grow wealth, you need to invest, right? And then a lot of people say, well, how much can I invest, or how can I invest when I'm struggling, or I don't, you know what I mean? I don't, I'm in debt and I'm trying to do this, that, and the third. That's how, right? By saving, adopting and creating those financially responsible habits,
Yeah.
right? Because when we talk about, allocating your money for your budget or creating that basic budget, if you have like student loans or credit card debt or any of that, that should be counted in your fixed expenses,
Right.
right? And then you still should be able to take some money and put it into your savings, and then whatever money's left over, right? um so now, depending on your situation, like that budget might be a little tighter initially, but over time it'll loosen
Loosen
up,
up.
and then and that savings account will grow. But that's how you do those things, right? But like I said, those simple actions over time dramatically changes your financial landscape. And your financial woes can transform into a growing bank account by listening to your budget. Simple.
Simple as that.
Just listening. You know what I mean? Paying attention, saying what it's doing. And attention to your budget helps you to see the truth about your spending. And you can't run from it. Like I
Yeah.
know so many people, because I was one of them. Keep it all the way 100 with you. I was one of them. I always, I never was reckless to the point that I didn't make sure my rent was paid and all those types of things. But like once I got all those things paid, I wasn't budgeting, and truthfully, I didn't even really have a budget. I would just get paid, pay my rent, my lights, my water.
Yeah. The
At the
important
time, I didn't have a
things.
car note because my car was paid off already. It was a beater though. It ain't like it was nothing fancy. But I would pay the important things, and then whatever money I had left over was shit. I would spend it however I want
Anything.
to.
Yeah.
It wasn't no budget. I wasn't putting money into savings and investing and all that. But the reality is, you have to look at your spending,
Yeah.
and that'll tell you everything that you need to know, right? And where you need to make adjustments. As said mentioned earlier, maybe you're over budgeting. Maybe you're not allocating enough funds. You know what I mean? Maybe you're allocating too many funds, and every month for the amount you have for groceries, you have money left over. So now let's move the money around.
Right.
Um, but as you consistently, monitor and adjust your budget, you'll better understand your financial habits, and then those allow you to make those informed decisions that we're talking about, right? So the proactive approach empowers you to cut unnecessary expenses, increase your savings, and then build a stronger financial foundation, which is what we all want.
Got to get them. Got to have it.
Hey,
You know what I'm saying? And I think what happens a lot of times is, and I've heard this before from a lot of people too, it's just getting on track. Like where do I start? Like I've never budgeted before. This, it seems complicated. It seems too involved. It seems like too much of a task and too much of a challenge to do it. But you really have to just find a very simplified way of approaching your finances. Start doing some of the simple things. Pretty much what E was kind of detailing when he was talking. When we're looking at that example, it's just doing small things. Not getting too extravagant with it. Just categorize your spending, see what you have coming in, see what you have currently, know it has to go out, and know what your final thing would be at the end of the month. Just finding a simple way to approach your budget is going to help you. But when you recognize the value in budgeting, it makes it much easier. You know what I'm saying? It makes it much more valuable to you because you see the benefits of what you're doing, right? And so some ways that you can approach your budget is really just one, tirelessly tracking your expenses. So keeping an eye, like he was saying, at least every other day, he checking, he's seeing where the money going. You know what I'm saying? So you want to just keep an eye on what your money is doing, whether it's daily, whether it's weekly, monthly, however you go about doing it. You just want to keep an eye on your expenses. See what's coming in, see what's going out. The next thing you want to do is just define your financial goals. What are your short-term goals? Your short term. God, dog, it's like I'm saying
Hey,
that.
hey man, I said
Short
won't. I said won't when I was saying want. You know what I mean? Like won't.
your
Hey, what we
short
want.
term goals. There you go. Let me get that out. Short-term goals. You know what I'm saying? Define those things. What are your long-term goals? What are some of the things that you want to do in the future? And this is what's going to motivate you to keep you on track. You want to take that vacation in the next 6 months, so you got to start putting that money aside. That's the reward that you get for the efforts that you give when you're budgeting, right? And so the next thing you want to do is just prioritize your needs and your wants. That's challenging for a lot of people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you
And that's
want to
challenging for me still
hey,
at this
you
point.
can
You
you
know.
can be good at your budget, but sometimes that urge to get something that you want is there. And sometimes you cave in and you get it, and maybe you have buyer's remorse. So you say, okay, man, I got to go extra hard now because I overspent. But I'm gonna make up for it. But prioritizing your needs and your wants. So identify the necessities and then prioritize them over your desires. It's okay to indulge every once in a while, but just avoid extravagant spending. Don't get your money and then feel like you want to go buy a lion or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like go out there and do something
He
bizarre.
said go buy a
Like I want to go
lion,
buy me an
man.
alpaca or something. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, yeah.
don't do that. You know what I mean? Like just be wise in your spending and what you're doing. You
Hey, and
feel me?
there's two things I want to add. You got another one
Go
said?
go. Well,
No,
I had like two more, but go ahead.
no, no, no. Whatever. Okay, well, cool. Go ahead. I'll
Nah,
wait. I'll
nah.
wait.
The next one was just practice savings and your savings discipline, and then perform regular budget reviews. You know what I'm saying? That's the last two things you want to do. But I want to hear what you got to say. Go ahead, brother.
Well, no, I was gonna say. So we obviously just did episode on lifetime fitness,
Yeah.
right? And how that becomes like a part of your life, and it's not just creating a diet, which
Right.
is
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
temporary most of the time, right? And like a budget is the same way. Like, cause I'm pretty sure there's people who, there's a big trip coming up and like, I want to go on this trip. So like, I'm going to do a budget temporarily
Temporary. Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
can put
Yeah.
some money aside
Right.
so I can go on this trip. But then after that, you
Your
just go
habits ain't
back to,
changed.
whatever you did, whatever you normally been doing, right?
Right.
And this is of that same vein, right? Like, this needs to become a part of your lifestyle.
Yeah.
It needs to be something that you incorporate and becomes a habit where you're not even really thinking about it anymore. It's just natural
It's
to
natural to
you,
you.
and that was really just kind of what I wanted to hit on. We really got to like embrace them things. And then also the second point is it's there's exceptions to every rule, and we all step outside of what we normally do sometimes, right? So to said point, you've been working hard and you got enough money for that lion, man, go ahead and buy that lion. You know what I'm saying? Just don't just
just
don't
just
don't make it a point to buy the lion, or what I mean, don't go buy all the animals, you know
right.
what I'm
Right.
saying?
Man,
Just go get
let me
back
get that
to
giraffe out there too. Give me two of those. Give me two of those giraffes and let me get that lion. Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
a matter of fact, I'm thinking about an octopus this month. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you know
Like
what I'm
just,
saying?
just
I'm just gonna buy the whole
a
zoo.
hippo. But yeah,
Yeah,
but my point is saying that obviously we joking, y'all. But the point is saying that is like it's not what you do sometimes. It's what you do most
most of
of
the
the time,
time. Yeah,
right? So, if you've been working hard and you want to, treat yourself to something, cool, right? But don't be the person that treat themselves every damn month and ain't putting no money in savings.
right.
You know what I mean? And ain't investing. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Because that's the person that's not going to be financially secure.
right.
But if every once in a while you just got a nice bonus, you want to treat yourself to something, by all means do that. We all deserve to enjoy the fruits of our labor.
Absolutely.
But again, it's what you do most of
Most
the
of the
time,
time. Yeah.
not what you do sometimes.
Yeah.
You know,
You don't want to get to a point where you just excessively spending because you have an excess in money. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to do that. But yeah, I agree with everything you just said, bro. Like you just gotta be smart, gotta be wise, and really just look for some clarity. You know what I'm saying?
hey, clarity, hey, and you do that by looking at the, your spending
Yeah.
and your budget, listening to your budget. So cool. So in summary, right? If you don't take anything else from this episode, I hope you at least understand that a budget is so much more than just a financial plan. It's so much more than that. And I kind of just alluded to that a little bit about making it become part of your lifestyle, and not temporary, like don't create a temporary budget and that's your financial plan. It's so
Right.
much more than that, right? And it's really to clarify, looking for that clarity that
Yeah.
said just mentioned, right? And by analyzing your financial actions, right? You need your financial actions rather to align with your financial plans.
Yeah.
And you get that clarity by looking at your budget and your financial spending, right? That was like a tongue twister for a little second there. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so you look at your financial spending, right? And you need your financial actions to align with your financial plans, and that's very, very important. And again, you get that clarity by listening to your money talk, right?
Yeah.
So, listening to what your spending habits and budget is telling you is the necessary type of accountability you need to become financially free and to accumulate comprehensive wealth. So, hear what your money has to say, because when money talks, financial prosperity is just a listen away.
Bang.
So with all that said,
That was a
you got
bar.
anything you want to add on to that said?
Absolutely not, my kind sir. That's for nine. We good.
Hey, but man, we greatly appreciate y'all. We are coming to the end of season 2. We got
Man,
one
one
more
more episode.
episode, which is episode 100, and
Yeah.
then we're gonna take a break for the rest of the year,
Yeah. Sometimes
and
me
then
and Eric gotta
we'll
get away from each other. So that's the time when
yeah,
we
a little bit,
I'm
it's time
saying.
to spend time with family and
Right.
and step away, right?
Eric takes a significant amount of my time every week for the year. So we gotta separate.
He say that like it ain't vice versa.
Well, whatever.
But but literally though, we literally have every week this year we've dropped the episode.
Yeah, man.
Every
Every
week.
week.
Not one week has been missed. So and we're excited about that, right? So again, episode 100, you know what I mean, which is crazy. That's a big milestone for us. So be sure to join that giveaway and get you some free money, man. Get you a free hat, free gift card, season of giving.
Now
Enjoy the time with y'all
don't make
family.
the support temporary now just because we're giving away some money. Like we're
Make it a
talking about this
part of your
budget. Make it part
lifestyle.
of
You
your
know what I'm saying?
lifestyle.
Make it
You
a
know what I'm saying?
lifestyle. You know what I mean? But as always, man, we greatly appreciate y'all, everybody who listen, everybody who chimes in, everybody who subscribes to the YouTube channel, who's a follower on our Instagram page. And
Appreciate all
we
of it.
don't even be really shouting out TikTok and all that often, but our TikTok followers, I'm trying to think of what other social media platform. If you
Threads,
subscribe on
wherever
Threads,
wherever
right?
you at, wherever you
Um,
consume our content, man, we
yeah, but we we,
appreciate
we
it.
we we greatly appreciate y'all. It's definitely been a journey. We've come a long way in the last 2 years, and we got a lot further to go. So, with all that
Absolutely.
said, you know how it go. If you don't do nothing else,
Keep
keep
it
it thorough,
thorough. Yeah,
and
yeah.
we'll holler at y'all next time. Deuces.